couple
You
minutes
made it
past
just
1:30, so we want to go ahead and start. We're still waiting on one sixth grade team member, but she'll be here, and I can go ahead and pray, and hopefully she'll be down in just a moment. And we're going to begin by letting the sixth grade teachers introduce themselves, because some of them have to get back upstairs to teach their kids who are going to be arriving any minute. And a couple of them are going to stay and help us with our presentation, okay? So let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day and just for the gift that every day is, Lord. I thank you so much for Grace and for all the amazing staff members who are here and for each and every student and family that we get to serve here each day, God. We just ask that you will be with this these current fifth grade families as they look ahead and begin preparing for middle school, Lord. We just ask that you watch over them and guide them in everything that they do, Lord. I pray special blessing over the parents as they begin this journey with their children. Just encourage them and give them everything that they need to support their children and to just to be there for them and love on them and just help them to grow into the people that you would have them to be, Lord. I pray that you will continue to strengthen our partnerships with them and just go before us in all that we do to try to help the children grow and mature into godly young men and women. Again, I thank you so much for this time that you've given us today to talk about what sixth grade looks like, and I pray that you'll speak through us, Lord, and just help us to answer any questions that there are, and continue to prepare the children for the rest of this year as they head into middle school. We thank you and we praise you and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All righty. So I'm Lene Morris. I think hopefully you guys all know me. The principal down here, and I'm going to share a little bit, but I know mainly you would love to hear from the teachers, so they're going to do the bulk of the presentation. But as I mentioned a moment ago, not all of them can stay because they do still have sixth grade going on as we speak. So I'll let them introduce themselves and tell what subject they teach, and then we'll jump into our presentation. So you guys don't have to go in this order. Just go ahead.
I'm Ashley Fieldhauer, and I teach Bible here at Grace for sixth grade students.
And I'm Holly Kane, and I teach School Success and TE.
Hi, Lydia Dwayne. I teach English and Writing.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley McGuire. I'm a sixth grade science teacher.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Green. I teach sixth grade math and pre-algebra.
Hi, I'm Sarah Mariella. I teach history.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. And I think Ashley and Holly are going to stay and help us out. So Bible and PE School Success. Anything you ladies, I didn't ask them to prepare anything. It's weird for them to just come and say hi and then run out the room. So anything you ladies like to share?
Sure, I'll share. So one of the cool parts about science in sixth grade is that we get to do it every day. So a lot of the classes, they get to go to science lab here and there, or science maybe a few days a week. One of the cool parts about sixth grade is that we get to do science every day. So 4 days a week we're in classroom, and every week, once a week, we're in the lab. They're learning how to write lab reports, really pull God's design together for science. So we get a lot more time in the science department where we get to really show them like God's creation, God's world through science and through the lesson and curriculum and hands-on, which I think is kind of a cool adjustment for middle school.
Is the vast majority of the science project and lab work done on campus?
Yes.
Or is there
Yeah.
take home?
Nope. We have the majority of everything is done on campus. There's one big tradition at Grace, which is the sixth grade cell project, which you guys will see some of the leftovers in the hallway. They're taking them home this week, so they're not all there. That's our one big at-home project. All the labs and everything happen in class, and now they can write their lab reports at home, but the majority of it is all done in class. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For history, we do ancient civilizations, which is really cool, a little bit different than they do it in first grade. We do a lot of hands-on fun activities, simulations. We do a variety of tests and projects, but all of our projects in history are done in class, in school. We went to the North Carolina Museum of Art for a field trip. It's awesome, a lot of ancient artifacts.
Yeah.
Yeah, sixth grade math is a lot of fun. We try to make it something that they're excited to come into, even if math isn't their favorite subject when they start. And I would just encourage you not to make your kids feel stressed out about it. If they're already stressed out about it, encourage them. This is a fun place to learn. Math was not my favorite subject growing up, so we do teach math for sure. That's a part of why we're here. But we're trying to do it in a way that supports their learning. They can see how it connects to the real world, and it's a really fun thing. And we do have the option for differentiation with pre-algebra, which I'm sure you'll hear more about as we get closer and closer to sixth grade. And again, that shouldn't be a stressor. If your child is ready and they test into an honors program, that's great. There's also tons of opportunities for that as they go through middle and high school. So yeah, we love math.
Sixth grade English is all of our units are centered around novel studies, and so we'll study 5 novels throughout the year. We still do fix-it grammar, we do language review, and so all of that's kind of tied in there together. Lots of writing, lots of reading, which is sometimes like pulling teeth, but I love it, so I try to make it fun. But yeah.
Awesome. Any quick questions for any of them? We're going to talk more about the curriculum and the day-to-day for the kids, but just thought it'd be great if they had a chance to share a little before they have to run. So,
Are those novels, are those like classics or?
It's a bit all over the place. We read Holes first. We just finished a novel called The Weston Game. And this is just this year. Sometimes they have like a pool of sixth grade books that they can pull from. We will read this year The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is one of my favorites. So not all classics.
Modern classics.
Yeah, modern classics, I guess we could say.
Thank you. Yeah, never.
all right. Okay, well, thank you guys for being here. And if you guys do have any other questions that really they can only answer, we'll definitely ask and get the information back to you, okay? But with that being said, do you guys mind if I you probably know the rest of the people here. I'll just point them out. We don't have to do introductions, but you guys know Mr. Bradley, our head of school, Coach Stack, Chris Stack, our athletic director. He's going to speak a little about athletics in a little bit. Miss Mills, Lael Mills, our school counselor. She's going to talk a little about what we do with social emotional learning for sixth graders. Miss Haley Field is here recording, which I can't stand, but we're doing it for the benefit of all you at home who couldn't be here today. And then Miss Williams, you guys know, my right-hand woman here, assistant principal, and Miss Robinson and Miss Lodholtz are joining us. Lorna, you guys all know she's hiding behind the pole there. Our director of admissions. And Miss Robinson's not technically part of our presentation, but we're in her space, so our media specialist. Yes. Anyway, so all of us have a little part in this presentation today, but basically we'd love to call you guys together to talk about what sixth grade looks like at Grace. And you all, provided everything goes as according to plan, you're going to be the last ones who have this experience of sixth grade at Grace, where the kids are on the lower campus with TK through fifth grade. And so, it'll be an adjustment for us when we move to something different. I love the way this is set up for our sixth graders specifically. Not that it won't be cool for them to be able to be all together with the middle school when we move, but right now there are lots of benefits in terms of them being the leaders on campus, them learning about middle school and how it all works still in the small environment of the little sixth grade wing upstairs where they change classes and they just go across the hallway or next door basically, with the exception of electives. But it really gives us a good opportunity to introduce middle school, give them some more freedoms while teaching them about the responsibilities that come with those freedoms of middle school, sheltering them just a little bit more than most middle schools are able to. We hope to be able to recreate that when we move to another physical location, but you guys are not going to have to worry about that because you'll still be here. So some things that we want to make sure our sixth grade students are able to do, and we're going to break these down in the slides to come, so I'm not going to talk much about them, but of course, we want to keep Jesus at the center of everything. We want them to have a personal relationship with God. That is our ultimate goal. Our mission is that, they will accept him as their Lord and Savior. And so we continue to keep that at the center, just like we have through all the other years. And sixth grade you heard a little, you haven't yet heard a little about Bible, but Ashley will talk a little about that. We continue, a lot of this is a continuation, just more advanced of things that they've done in elementary years if they've been here. Developing the 4 C's, so communication skills, the ability to collaborate with others, creativity, and critical thinking. So we really focus on all of those things because those skills are all so important for success, not just in middle and high school, but in life these days. So these ladies do a wonderful job of working on those things. We want them to have good study skills, good work habits, just good habits, for lack of a better word, as they move up to the upper campus for middle and high school, because the rigor is going to increase, their level of involvement in other types of activities, whether they're athletics or clubs or work when they get to be that age. They're going to have to be able to manage their time and plan and just take care of all those things. And so we want them to have those good foundational skills to be able to be successful. We want them to have a growth mindset. This is probably, I would venture to say, one of the hardest things up here, which our teachers do an amazing job, but we need your partnership and support in this. It's okay for them to stumble and fail every once in a while, and you'd much rather that happen to them when they are in 6th grade than later on down the road, okay? So it's normal. Every child or person at some point kind of reaches a point where something becomes difficult. Some of your children may have been able to breeze through school up to this point, and some of them will probably continue to do that for a few years. Some of them are going to hit that point in 6th grade, especially in the beginning when they're just learning how to navigate 6 or 7. The kids would love that. At one time. And it's okay if they struggle with that a little bit. Let them, help them, support them, but let them struggle through it and learn from it. Don't try to, manage it all for them, because they learn from the struggle and they grow. And that is the growth mindset. That's what we want them to develop, because there will be other struggles in life. And if they don't learn how to work through those things and develop that grit to manage, they're going to have a harder time as the problems get bigger. We want them to be involved. There are lots of opportunities, probably too many for them to do it all. So you probably will have to help them manage and figure out what kinds of things they do want to be involved in and what's something that can wait for later. But we have those things to talk about with you here. And then we certainly want them to continue to become more independent and take accountability and ownership of their own actions and just responsibilities. The teachers are great about leading them through the process of advocating for themselves. Email your teachers on your own. Yes, you guys can help them write an email to their teachers if they need to ask a question, or come see the teachers, better still. But we want them to learn and grow and develop that confidence to do that, because, again, eventually they're going to need to be able to do that on their own. Okay? All right, so we're going to talk about all those things, beginning with keeping Christ at the center of all things. I think Ms. Philhauer is going to do this.
So I teach Bible here, and one of the things that, it's the main thing that we talk about in Bible class in 6th grade is the life of Christ. And it's such a beautiful thing, because when the kids start at Grace in 6th grade, they go through the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and through the life of Christ. By the end of 6th grade, they would have understand the full understanding of who Jesus is, how he lived his life, and how he died on the cross and rose again, and how we can have that assurance in who he is and the hope that he gives us. And so it's a huge thing. The 6th graders really, really grow in this year, because a lot of them may have never really read the Bible, and so it's a way for them to learn those biblical Bible skills of picking up a Bible, looking at chapters, verses, and getting into that habit of reading the Bible. But we make it really interesting and fun, and the kids are very engaged and they really, really enjoy it, and it's a meaningful experience for them. We also try to teach them, not even just in Bible class, but in all of our subjects, how Christ applies to every aspect of our life. It's not just in Bible class, it's not just here at Grace, it's going out, living out that life to follow Him, and how we can just always point back to Him. So it's a great year. You're going to see a lot of growth in your children spiritually, and it's pretty cool. And something that you should know about our 6th grade team is that if any of your children get saved or get baptized, we do love to come and attend those things. Those are very important things, and you will probably see us do that if that happens for your child next year. Another thing is developing the 4 C's. So we really want to emphasize the communication is a huge important thing, especially as Dr. Morris talked about transitioning from the parent sending an email to the student sending the email or advocating for themselves. It is a transition for this year. But the kids do a really great job, and Ms. Kane does a really great job teaching the kids how to send an email, how to advocate for themselves. And that's part of school success that is so great in 6th grade. And it shows the students that they can reach out to teachers and it's not so scary. And we make that feel really welcome. And we also offer times for help classes and other times where students during study hall can come and reach out to us and talk to us and communicate things. We also do a lot of collaboration in the classrooms. We don't just like to have the kids sit there and listen to a lecture. We like to have them talk with each other and have projects where kids can get up and move and they can engage in learning. And it's not just something that they sit back on. And we love to really get into their creativity as well. And this is really evident. We do a lot of skits in class. We make the Bible come alive. I can talk from my own perspective. And in history and science and different things where they're getting up and they're moving and they're seeing how it applies to their life. And finally, critical thinking. We really want the kids to engage in what they're learning, take what they're learning, and really critical think and go beyond the classroom. And we've seen that a lot. Like last year when we went on a field trip to the Eno River, some of the kids were having conversations with the tour guides and really going far deeper in the biblical understanding of science. And we're actually challenging in a really respectful way what the tour guides are saying. They're like, well, what about this? Because doesn't this have to do with this? And the tour guide was like, wow, that's really deep. And so you can see the kids are very curious in 6th grade. They want to know. And so we really foster that and we show how to do it respectfully.
So like Dr. Morris said, one of the classes they have in 6th grade, which I think is super cool, is school success. And it really kind of envelops the 2 slides we just talked about, the 4 C's and growing their faith, because in all of the subjects we teach through a biblical worldview. But in school success, we talk to them, where I teach them about how to take on like the struggles that are going to come. Like Dr. Moore spoke of too, we're going to have struggles, and we talk about this productive struggle. We want them to struggle, and that the progress of that is what's really, really important. And so we talk about how to deal with this. I teach them how to set goals, and then how to check, how am I doing with my goals? Am I making these goals? The goals that I set for my grades, am I leaning into those? How am I going to attain those? So we talk about that. We talk about study time and space and what that should look like in 6th grade and how to get that, whether it's, what time of their day. Like I have to make a whole schedule. If they have things after school, when can they get the study in? We do have study hall for them, and then we have 2 optional recesses, and some of our student athletes choose to stay in and do homework instead of go outside. And we honor both choices. We think it's very good to get outside and move around. If that's what they choose, that's fantastic. But if it's better for them to stay in and do homework on the 2 recess days, we honor that as well and make sure they have the time to do that. We talk about test-taking strategies. We do a lot. Like I constantly go back to that because what works for one person may not work for another. So I offer a lot, and then we practice them on little quizzes in the classroom. Well, what worked really well for you? We talk about social and emotional skills and relationship throughout the year. As things come up in 6th grade, we just take time in our class to discuss them. What's the best way to deal with this? Let's go back to the Bible. What have we learned? What can we use and apply to our life and in this situation here? Our digital footprint, if you're upstairs, you'll see right now, if you take I guess they're not walking around today, are we? No, okay. But there's posters. We just did digital footprint and digital citizenship. And in groups, they made posters with the think, where they had to think before they post. And they did a really great job of understanding why it's important to slow down with social media and anything that you're doing online and taking time to think, what impact is this going to have on me now and in the years to come? Let's see what I'm missing. Everything we do, we talk about what it means through the eyes of Christ. Like everything they're doing, they need to think about, how does God see this and how does God want me to see this? And then, as we already spoke about, recognize what it means to have a growth mindset in everything. And we talk about the joy of making mistakes. Like it is truly a joy to make a mistake because you get an opportunity to learn. And so we try to celebrate that rather than make it a negative.
Hi, I'm Leah Mills. I'm the school counselor. I teach TK through 5th for their tool time. So if they've ever talked about that, that's me. We are talking about generosity a lot. You guys will see for the social emotional learning, they're going to go through a lot of this. And they're going to talk, especially the girls are going to talk a lot about like self-awareness. They're going to start being a little bit more aware of what they're wearing. Even some of the boys are going to, and they're going to be working through that. The self-management is a skill we're trying to promote. Mrs. Kane really works hard with them, I would say, on all of these. The self-management where they can kind of like pull out their own agenda and check on it themselves and kind of know where they are with it. The social awareness at home, if you guys want to support them with this, friendships change a lot in middle school, and it is really hard on some of them. We get new kids in 6th grade, and we get usually a pretty big chunk of new kids in 6th grade. So the friendship groups change a little bit, right? And some kids embrace it, and some kids have a really, really hard time with it. So if you want to prepare them, even just starting now, and then throughout the summer, it might help their sweethearts to just know, like, be open to new friends. And these friends, if they're in classes with these other friends more, your friendship might look a little bit different with them. That doesn't mean we can't invite them over and like have them over separate from school, but you might not see them as much. But that's a hard thing about middle school for them right now. I guess the responsible decision making, we talk with them a lot about that. They'll see me, they'll see Miss Williams, and they'll see Dr. Morris as well as the 6th grade team. If they're struggling with that, if you guys see anything at home that you're concerned with, like, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to like support them however we can. Some kids even email me and they're like, hey, I'm really struggling with what to do in this, because they can email in 6th grade, and you guys are so good about encouraging that. That they're starting to recognize that they can ask for help with decision making and like, what should I do when I have these choices, or what should I do when I'm struggling here with this friendship? But if you're having a hard time getting that out of them, say, just email one of your teachers, or email Mrs. Mills, or email Mrs. Williams or Dr. Morris. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody outside of like mom and dad to say something. And then for the friendship,
If they do email you, and let's say they weren't sharing with us, how much do you funnel back to us? So I protect their right to privacy, but I also want to know.
So we honor some privacy, but you're still with parents, so.
But kind of, Aiden spoke to months before, and you kind of gave me a follow-up on what you spoke to.
Yeah.
And that was really nice and comforting to me. Kind of, okay, that's what my kid went through. That's what they talked about. And then I left it up to him if he wanted to share more with me. But I was just curious, as they get to middle school, how much you're protecting their privacy, but might need to know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're still little kids.
Yeah.
I have a 5th grader. So I would want to know, so I would assume you guys would want to know. I still get details to the extent of like, I mean, if it's something silly and they're like, I can't let my mom know who my crush is, and this is like, I might not tell you who the crush is, I might just say you're the crush. That's their problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But like, there's still things you need to know. And there's often follow-up that you might want to help them with at home, or just keep your eye on. And same for like here, if there's something and they're like, I don't want the school to know yet,
but you want us to have an eye on it, especially with some of the responsible decision making and the friendship things. Let us know. I am sometimes known to walk around the lunchroom and just watch friendship interactions. And see what's going on with certain friend groups, if they're having a hard time with each other, or if you think things are like a little off, or your kid things a little off when they get home when they're talking about certain people, we can keep an eye on that for you. But we can't do that unless we know. So if you tell us, we're happy to do so and then kind of swoop in if they need help. But it helps to know news and moods like that so we can keep our ears open to lunchroom space. But that is one of the bigger social times. But I can position myself in such a lunchroom, student people, to be able to hear things if you have big concerns. Yeah, and we also, for friendships, we're happy to also do small lunch groups still in 6th grade. Some good kids come to me when they were in the younger grades, but we still do those in 6th grade to help foster connections with new friends. So if you find out that their friendship groups are changing and you're like, it's not working out for them, let us know that. We can talk to the 6th grade team and foster connections. You guys also offer the discipleship groups, which I think foster really good friendships too. They're a positive thing. So especially if you have girls, I think we have one boy one night.
Yeah, Miss Kay also offers gold.
Yeah. Oh, and your athlete one. I think those help foster like positive, pure connections as you go into 6th grade. But we're just here to support you guys as we want. But yes, we'll still be acting like they're in elementary school.
Do we do the same as a team? I think that's a great question. When we notice the child may just have had a tough day, we might just send a quick email, and we won't communicate as much as elementary school. We kind of like to give them a little distance. But I mean, I'm a mom too. Like, we might just say, hey, it's kind of a rough day. They fell out of the locker, whatever. Just to give you a heads up too, we really understand the need for communication, and we just like Ms. Mills said, we like to hear the same back. If someone, feels like they don't have someone to sit with at lunch, that's really important, and that really affects their academics, and we understand that. So we want them to feel safe and loved, and then we know they're going to be open to taking risks academically. So that communication from you is great for us. And like I said, when we see something, we'll definitely reach out as well. So actually, this is exactly what we were just talking about. Having a growth mindset, definitely with academic risks, but also every year the group is a little bit different, and we can kind of see where we need to speak with them more. And for this year, we've done a lot with the second to last one, find lessons in success of others, and then encourage others when they've made a mistake. We've really had to talk to this group this year about understanding what a joy, it's so joyful to see a friend succeed. And it's so joyful and exciting when you've encouraged others and you can see how that played a part in their success. And so we spent a lot of time talking about that and how that is a growth mindset for a middle schooler to reach outside themselves and to build up each other as a class. So we do a lot with growth mindset in all of our classes. We really try to make them see that, this is a time to grow, and that includes helping others, and experiencing failure yourself and getting through it. I think, Chris, this is you and me. Do you want to start?
Yeah. I can start if you want me to talk a little about the beginning.
I'd love to.
Okay. Well, one of the ways you can be involved at Grace or with your children is through athletics, and so that's why we invited Chris. So he could talk to you a little bit about what that looks like.
Thank you. So as Dr. Morris said, my name is Chris Steck. I have the privilege of getting to serve as the athletic director here at Grace. The reason why I get to come into this meeting is very unique here at Grace, and really a privilege here at Grace, because not every independent school allows 6th graders to participate in athletics. We do here at Grace for a number of reasons, a couple of reasons. One is so that they can fully get an understanding of what it is to be a part of Grace Athletics and the Grace Athletic community. Two, the things that we've talked about here, it really is a huge adjustment in and now their scheduling, from getting up in the morning, having school, to then staying after school to be part of an athletic team, and then getting home and juggling whatever other responsibilities that they may have. And oh, by the way, sitting down for dinner with the family. So really, we want them to learn those things. We want them to start to develop those characteristics. And so a little bit about Grace Athletics right now as we continue to grow. I mean, we have 40 teams. I think I have to update that number now to 41 because we just added a middle school girls B basketball team. But we do compete in 3 different seasons, fall, winter, and spring, at the varsity, JV, and middle school levels. We are a member, if you are really interested, here as Grace, as in the North Carolina Independent School Athletic Association. We are a 3A school, but with us making the move, we will be making the jump into a 4A group in a couple of years here. At the middle school level, we compete in the Capital Area Middle School Conference. And athletics is a big part of what we do here at Grace. But in terms of athletics, we don't want it to be who we are. We want athletics to be a platform by which we can really help our student athletes find their identity in Christ, and using athletics as a tool to do that while also competing at a really high level. So 75% of our students on the upper campus, once you enter into 7th grade, so 7th through 12th grade, 75% of our students participate in at least one sport. 60% of our students participate in at least 2 or more sports. So again, it is a big part of what we do. And also some of the things that they're going to start to have available to them. And I see the younger groups. I mean, our middle school basketball teams were in the weight room yesterday after school with Coach Will. So we have a full-time strength and conditioning coach here at Grace, who also happens to be able to teach Bible on the upper campus and PE. And so, again, we have that available to them, and we start to teach them about those things starting in 6th grade. So let's see here. I'm just going to run through because I know this is the question that I always get each year, so I listed them out. So in the fall, we participate in football, girls soccer, girls volleyball, girls tennis, boys and girls cross country, cheerleading. In the winter, at the middle school level, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls swimming, cheerleading, and then in the spring, baseball, softball, boys golf, boys tennis, boys lacrosse, girls soccer, and boys and girls track. So that's everything we've got going on. Questions for me?
Is that list of sports somewhere on the website?
It's on our Grace Athletics. Yep, there's a drop down that has all the sports when you click on each different season. Yep. Yes.
Can you tell them a little about how they'll, like, the final forms process? Is that going to change? Or is
It's not going to change. I mean, maybe with blackball we might transition, but the formality of it would be the same. So we use a platform called Final Forms. So starting at the end of this year, in April and May, you'll start to receive some emails from me that basically will outline fall sports offerings. And in that, and as part of that, we give you instructions on how to sign up in Final Forms. So your child will have to be in Final Forms. You'll have to have updated athletics physical, and we give all that information as well. The North Carolina Independent School Athletic Association requires a specific athletics physical to be filled out. We also offer physical days through the summer to have that done. It's like a $10 charge for that, but you will have to be registered in Final Forms, have an updated physical in order to be eligible to participate in athletics here at Grace. So
in 6th grade, how inclusive are the teams versus competitive?
So it's a great question. So it really does depend on which sport, if I'm being honest, right? Because our girls volleyball program is very competitive. I know this year for a fact at our middle school level, every girl that participated in club. So very competitive, and so we have to make cuts there. But we do our best to try and keep as many kids as possible. Coach Kane has our cross country team, and she has tons of runners, and keeps every one of them involved. But the other part about that that's important is, there's a code of conduct, there's a contract. And again, we say that athletics is a privilege, and so that being said, some of our other sports, basketball this year, we upped the numbers that we kept. We made a second girls team, this is the first time because of the number of girls that tried out. So we do try to include everyone, but we also compete at a very high level in our association.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The earlier you sign up through Final Forms, many of the cross country and the other fall sports, we start meeting in the summertime. And so if I'm going to communicate with you as a coach, you would have to be on Final Forms to know that your child was interested. So it's good to sign up on there, even if you just think you might want to. And that way the coaches will be able to reach out to you, because they won't reach out necessarily to all of the incoming sixth grade. You'll get all the information.
So that stuff will start coming out
Yeah.
in, probably about mid-April is when we start pushing it out. And we do see a lot of times people are like, oh, I have time to get to that, right? Fall sports don't start till August, and they put it off, and all of a sudden August gets close and they've missed all the information. That was the other component that I was going to talk about. Most of our teams do train in the off season. And coaches will put out that information through Final Forms, communicate through Final Forms when those training sessions are, when they're available. Not mandatory, but obviously increases your opportunity to make teams here at Grace and to develop and get better. Yes.
And it's maybe very sport dependent, but what's a typical practice situation? Like how many days a week? How long?
So for middle school, in our conference and the way in which we schedule things, I'll start with this in mind, is that our games tend to be on Tuesday, Thursdays. There will be some weeks where there's a third game in there because a non-conference team might need that. So typically about 2 games a week, and then practice is 2 to 3 days the other time. So you're going more often than not, the full 5 days. The middle school athletes, we try to have them practice for the most part right after school when we can. So they'll get their practices in, usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours each time. So you're looking at somewhere between 3:30 and 5:30. So, yep. Good question. Anything else?
My only concern there,
Yeah.
how are they able to balance that transitioning workload at school, homework, and then a sport if they want to do a sport? Do most middle schools do one sport?
Per season, do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it just all depends on the child, the family, and what they feel that they can handle. Because we do offer the 3 different seasons. We have a number of athletes that do still participate in every season, some that only do one. So it is just, the best way I can answer that really is based upon the child, the family, how they're able to manage it, and if they can manage 3 seasons. But we've definitely had athletes that participate in all 3 seasons. Did that answer your question?
It's kind of or do you see, is that a really just abrupt year for middle schoolers? Like my kid likes to play soccer. Let's say he signs up for soccer.
Yep.
Is he going to be able to manage school and soccer, or does it feel like a lot for a kid in 6th grade?
Yeah, I think 6th grade is going to feel like a lot, and that's why we introduce a number of these things. That's why we introduce athletics, as really we stress that it's developmental, right? We stress that to our coaches and to our athletes. So it is a lot, and that's why we introduce it. That's why we think it's important to do that here at Grace, because it's going to be a big transition. But we found that our athletes that learn how to manage that in 6th grade get much better at it, because once they get into, really, once they start playing JV and varsity, they might have gaps in between when the school day ends and when their practice starts, because until we get to our new facilities, right now we have 1 gym, and so when we're up to 7 basketball teams and 6 volleyball teams, we have 1 main field and a practice field. Things like baseball, softball, tennis, golf are all off campus. So that's a big reason why we do think it's important. But it's an adjustment. It's absolutely a big adjustment.
Shouldn't if I should pull them back from signing up or push them to sign
Well,
up?
they do have study hall. We have study hall, and we have electives like study hall as well that they can choose from. So there are ways that we train the kids to, like, if you're an athlete, you can choose this elective. It may not be like quote unquote a fun elective, but it's something that will help you in the long run. And it's them realizing, I'm doing soccer, I'm going to choose this as an elective so that I can utilize this time, this 45-minute time, to get my schoolwork done. So
They
it's
really-
training them in that.
They really do a good job of helping the kids learn how to do that for themselves. Just like, I can't remember which one of you said it earlier, but like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have the option of outside time, or they can stay in and work on homework if they want to. And especially some of the athletes who know they have practice or a game coming, a lot of them might choose, to stay in and work on their homework during that time. They're not going to force them to do that. That will be something, the conversations you guys can have with your child at home. And some kids, every child, like Coach Stack said, is a little different. Some of them can, take a little less time on homework and they're fine. Some really need longer on the homework. And so it's really going to look different for every child.
And it really, it is a struggle, but it's kind of a great struggle
Yeah.
because they learn what works best for me. Maybe I need to get up a half hour early and do some homework in the morning. Like, it's kind of a great time for the family to get around and support one another. How can we make this work in our family? Because the other thing we stress, I don't think we kind of got to the other classes up here, but we want them to be involved, whether it's in theater or a sport. We know that being part of a team or part of a group really helps them to feel like they're included, and that drives academic success. When they feel like, oh, I'm a part of this makes me feel important. This group, really loves me. Like, that makes a huge difference. And so we want to teach them how they can do something outside of school or a club within the school that takes extra time and still succeed academically. And we share our own struggles. Like, we all have extra things that we do as well, and how we talk about, well, this is how we still fit in our Bible study or our own athletics. And we kind of work through all of that with them because there's so many different clubs, like even theater, sometimes they're here till 8:30 or 9. And the students, like, we just got an email from one of our 6th graders that was like, I'm going to be here, when can I do this? And then, it was a great question. So we can feed back into them. Well, let's look at your day. Let's find these times that can be done. So I think, yes, it'll probably be difficult, but it's kind of something that it can definitely be done. I really think it can do.
And other things included up here that we've kind of mentioned, there are electives. No longer are there specials that the kids do each week. So now that they're going to be in 6th grade, we give them an opportunity to choose 2 things that they think they would enjoy most. To sign up for. They get 2 electives, and those are year-long electives. So we really want them and you to talk about what things do you feel most passionate about, that you feel like you can commit to and stick with for the whole year. They're 2 days a week, each of them, typically, unless we have an odd schedule for the week. So it's weird how it's set up, but it's so we can work with Upper Campus for a couple of these. So it's either Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Wednesday. We don't have electives on Friday because of chapel. And the Monday, Thursday electives are set up to mirror Upper Campus because the first ones on here, art, theater, and band. Those students, if they sign up for those, they take the shuttle to the Upper Campus to do art, theater, and band with 7th and 8th graders.
Chorus.
Yes, I'm sorry. Not art. Theater, band, and thank you guys. I don't know why I said that. Vocal ensemble. So chorus, theater, and band. Sorry, not art. Miss Boyd still does art for our administrators. And we actually have 2 sections of art every year because there's always so much interest in that because they know her and love her. But here are our choices, at least for now. And we also have study hall, which was mentioned. And some kids will choose to have study hall as one of their electives, which is fine. But there's the ones I've mentioned, Grace News, which Miss Robinson actually teaches. The strategy games, which is a really popular one as well. Fitness, Coach McGuire teaches, and that one's always wildly popular because they love Coach McGuire, although he we tell them, it's not PE. You're going to have some tests. You're going to have some assignments. And they never believe us until they get in there. But they still love it. Multimedia, which works closely with Grace News, but they do other things too with editing, some photography stuff, so all kinds of things. Computer science, some basic coding there. Leadership, which Miss Williams and I teach, and then Spanish. And we will go into your 5th graders' classrooms probably in April to talk to them more about the electives. And we'll give you guys some information about the electives as well. And then the information, the form for them to fill out is sent to you. So you can work with your child to fill out the form and submit the choices that you're interested in. Yes.
And they submit that before the end of school or
Yes.
by August?
Before the end of school. Yes. You won't get the assignments until we send information out at the end of July, beginning of August. But they do submit it before the end of the school year.
And if they change their mind?
If they change them, you can email me. But
They're likely to get their choice?
for the most part, the ones that are super popular, and that varies year to year. Sometimes strategy games fills up like that. Art is popular, but because we have 2 sections, usually we can get them in one or the other of those. Fitness typically fills up. The past couple of years, leadership has filled up because we only take 12 students for that one, just to make that experience, what it needs to be for the kids who are signed up. So yeah, it is based on submission if it comes down to that. But we have them put their top 4 choices. I can't think of a time where we haven't given a child at least one of their top 2 choices. And most of them get their top 2 unless there's a scheduling conflict. So for example, if they wanted both vocal ensemble and theater, we can't do that because they go at the same time to the upper campus. So that creates some challenges for those kids who love the performing arts. They have to choose one of those for next year. But we always tell them, pick one, the one that you think you enjoy the most for this year, and you can try something else next year. Even for theater, if you're not in the theater class, you still have an opportunity to audition for plays and things like that. So we'll talk about all this with them at the end of the year. But if you have questions when we send that information out, let us know. Okay. There are other ways for them to be involved as well. Not only are we teaching that leadership class, but we want our 6th graders to have other leadership opportunities as much as they can. And these ladies and the team look for those ways for them to be leaders around the building. We tell all of them at the beginning of the year, the little kids are watching you, whether you realize it or not, whether you want them to or not, they're looking up to you. So we need you to set an example here. We have discipleship groups, which was mentioned, and that kind of varies based on interest. How many do we have this year? We have 3 or 4 for the girls, and there's one bigger one for the boys. And that is something that the kids share their interest in. That is one thing that I think we do have kids sign up for. It's not sent to parents, right? Because we want it to be something the kids really want to do.
And they meet at lunch, so it doesn't affect anything.
Yes, it's not going to impact any of the athletics or after school or before school events. Ms. Kane can tell you a little about GOAL.
So GOAL, it's set up similar to FCA, if you're familiar with Fellowship of Christian Athletes, but it just started a few years ago, so it stands for God Over Athlete Leaders, and I just wanted to provide something at lunchtime where they didn't have to sign up. They don't need to tell me in advance. I offer it once a week, but 1 week is for boys, 1 week is for girls. They just grab their lunches, they come in, we do a short devotion. Sometimes I have guest speakers come in. Either upper campus athletes come down, we've had a couple college kids come down, and then some of our staff who are amazing athletes. But we just talk about how we fit everything in, kind of like what you were speaking about, and how we continue to shine Christ in the locker room, on the field, at practice, like how we can be This last time we talked about being fiercely competitive and showing the fruit of the Spirit and what that looks like. So it was pretty cool to talk about. But it's just at lunchtime, they come if they want, and they just sit down, and it's very quick. And it's open to all athletes. Like, they don't have to be on a Grace team. They don't, I have someone that rides a horse every week, and she's like, can I come? Yes. So, but that's what we do, and it's once a week.
Awesome. And then we do offer other clubs. This year we have art club, we have book clubs, which Miss Robinson does, and chess club, which has actually been strongly supported by parents the past couple of years, but really popular with our sixth graders. And we're open to other clubs if your children are interested, like really passionate about something. The key things are space and time and supervision that we have to work out with them if they're interested in trying to start something. They will do that when they get to upper campus. All those clubs are student-led, and they're different every year based on what the students want to do. So I'd like to model that some down here, but we are much more limited with space and the supervision piece. They're younger, and their transportation they're more reliant on parents. So, but anyway, lots of opportunities for them to be involved here at school. Let's see what's next. One of you want to talk
Yeah, I
about
can
this?
talk about it. We did talk about a lot of this, so I'll just kind of go briefly through the stuff that we didn't. So we have 6 core classes each day: math, English, Bible, history, science, and then school success on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays we have PE, which Coach Kane does both of these ones here. And then we have our lunch. Of course, these are split up throughout the day. We have lunch for half an hour where they get to eat and enjoy some fellowship time with each other. And then we have electives, which we talked about already. And these are year-long electives. And then we go right into study hall. So Monday and Wednesday, we have that 20 to 30 minute window of study hall at the end of the day. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have that optional recess. So if they would like to go out and get some fresh air, they can. If they would prefer to stay in and do that study hall, they can. So we split them up a little bit, but we give the kids that option. And then Friday, we have a nest time at the end of the day. And that's a really great time for all the students to be together, all 6th grade. And we do like community building. We do just a lot of fun things together. And we also have chapel on Friday morning, which some of you have been able to see. So, yeah.
All right, and then we have a little video for where this is not this year's 6th graders, just so you know. Some recent.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick little, just so you can hear from them what they enjoy about 6th grade. If I can get it.
Okay. I'm about to have a good day.
I love PE at Grace. I love how the teachers are really nice and how they're great at teaching.
Absolutely.
I like how the teachers understand me and care about my life. And I also love all of the wonderful teachers.
Every single way.
I like strategy games. I like doing the skits in class with my friends. One thing I love about Grace is getting to do theater at the upper campus when you're in 6th grade. One thing I love about Grace in 6th grade is that at lunch you get to sit wherever and you don't have like assigned seats, and so you don't have any classmates or friends who can talk with me. I like socializing with my friends in the hallway and playing sports. I like playing on my middle school basketball team and getting to practice where every day.
You do it.
Going outside for recess and playing volleyball. All the classes are really fun. I like 6th grade nest time, which is our community talk. And I like 6th grade art elective.
The variety of topics in our subjects, including pre-algebra, ancient history, and English.
I love electives because it's fun to have a break in the day to do something different. I like all the activities that we do, like the skits and the bookets. I love how everyone's really kind and everybody's like a family. I like doing skits in class and all that stuff. I also like doing review games in like math and history and Bible too. And I like being a bunch of these cool characters that we've seen in the Bible and Same class. I also like doing skits, especially in Bible.
I know what they say.
I like how we can play sports in 6th grade at Grace. The teachers are so sweet and helpful and can help you with anything you need.
It's gonna have a good day in every single way. In every single way.
So you got to hear a little from them that mirrored pretty closely what you'd heard from the teachers. And then I think, Ms. Williams, are you doing this one? Yeah. Okay.
So, what can you do to help your sixth grader prepare for your fifth grader prepare for sixth grade? It's, mixed emotions. The kids are excited about moving up to sixth grade, but just as much as they are excited, they're nervous, and they still need, your support to help them make that transition successfully. So pray with and for your students. Encourage some independence even now. So starting to find some ways that they can take ownership of task at home chores, establishing any type of routines, so that way they can kind of practice what it looks like to be working on something without, the parent actually watching them 100% of the time. Because as much as the kids enjoy being able to sit wherever they want at lunch or being able to walk from class to class without a teacher directing them, they need some support in being able to do that well without conflict. So just helping them to start to work on some of that independent piece right now. Independence even in their studying schedules as they are preparing to participate in any type of extracurricular activity, be it a sport or working through theater, helping them to be able to balance some of that study time versus my practice time and prioritizing things that might be due sooner rather than later. Continuing to look at Blackbaud as a source of knowing what's coming up next, because they'll utilize Blackbaud a lot more as they move into sixth grade. Praising their effort for them stepping out and trying to do some of that independence pieces. They might not get it, they won't get it 100% right the first time, all the time, but just recognizing that effort that they're trying to do even now as they are working through fifth grade. Celebrating their successes with them and continuing to love them. When you are talking about school, asking those open-ended questions, they can't just answer yes or no and be closed off, but something that's going to allow them to expound and be able to allow you to follow up to know about what they're going through, and being a little bit more pointed in those prayers that you have because they have opened up and shared. And sometimes it's hard, they talk less the older they get, and then they'll start talking even more again. But just being intentional about, continuing to foster that relationship between the family and helping them to support trying new things and taking some chances for things.
All right. So what questions do you guys have that you may not have had a chance to ask yet?
So the study hall period's about 30 minutes. What is the approximate, or how would you describe the increase in homework? Mm-hmm. Is it attainable for them to get the majority of it done in that time if they're focused, or is it 2 hours a day? Like what is the jump that we're looking at as far as academics?
Right.
From 5 to 6?
I know you guys are sick of hearing us say this, but it really depends on the child. But I have heard when we talk about electives at the end of the year, we typically try to have some sixth graders come in and talk to the fifth graders to let them ask the sixth graders questions. And one of the most popular questions is, how much homework do you have every day? And most of the sixth graders say to the fifth graders, I haven't had more homework than I did as a fifth grader. The one thing that the sixth grade teachers really strongly encourage that is different than for fifth grade, I think, is that they review their notes every day. So, for example, in science, Dr. McGuire and Miss Skolton did this before. They do memory checks, which we would probably call pop quizzes when we were growing up. They're not weighted heavily. They're very low stakes as far as that. The whole total is worth like 10% of their grade. And she drops the lowest ones, but she does that weekly. And that is to get them in the practice of reviewing their notes every day, because that is something that will really help them be successful as they go to the upper campus with, subjects like science. So I would say that is the big difference, like learning to manage that on top of the homework. But for homework, it's very similar. Like they're going to have math most every day, but if they use the study hall time for that, a lot of them can finish that during that time. They're going to have a little English. Typically what they're reading, they have some questions that they answer, a few questions every day that build up to a Socratic seminar that they do on Friday together. And then besides that, a lot of it is just reading and reviewing notes. So, every once in a while they'll have a project or something to write. But a lot of their homework is studying.
And Gwen?
Yes. I just wanted to, I've had a sixth grader
Yes.
who's now in eighth grade. And when we went to the parent teacher, the open house. In the
Yes.
beginning, and they give you the syllabuses. It seemed really overwhelming. Like, I'm back in college. I don't even can't remember whose I'm supposed to email. But I think I checked homework for 2 days, and then I didn't. And I just trusted the process. And I trusted the teachers, and they're an amazing team. And for someone who came, he was at a really small school. I was really nervous for him. He didn't even have fifth grade to have moved up from. And I was just super surprised at how he was able to roll with it himself. And I'm a hover. I like to call it intentional parenting. So I like to make sure that I'm aware of everything. But I will say that you guys did such a great job. And it was such a big year I was just blown away by how much he was able to do. So
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. The team really is amazing. They're very cohesive. Like they have lunch together every day. The sixth grade team does, which may not seem that important, but it really does help them. They talk about things they know. It helps them not to all do a big project the same week or, that sort of thing. It also helps them in keeping a good pulse on what's going on with each of your children. If one of them notices a child is really struggling, they might ask, hey, have you noticed so-and-so has been sorted down this week or seemed really stressed or whatever? And then they'll try to touch base with them and maybe reach out to you. And they really do love the kids and really pour a lot into them. Other questions? Yes.
So you had mentioned note taking. Do they start to introduce them to note taking this year and then it rolls into sixth grade, or do they start to learn how to take notes in sixth grade?
I think Miss Suarez does a little with note taking this year. She does, and maybe Miss Robinson, since you're here. I know Miss Robinson used to teach fifth grade, so I think Miss Suarez has like some fill in the blank kind of notes that she does with them, so they're having to listen and write as they're listening. And some of the sixth grade teachers still do that sort of thing with notes, so they don't just throw them to the wolves and say, just write down everything you can hear us say. It's not that kind of thing. So they do try to guide them and scaffold that for them.
And it kind of seemed like they mentioned that, will there be some testing to go into certain levels of math for sixth grade?
Math, yes. For math, so we use a lot of information to try to make the correct placement for each child for math in sixth grade. There's typically one pre-algebra class and then 3 math 6 classes. But that depends on the group of kids. But we look at ERB data, which they just took, the ERB tests. We look at classroom assessment data that, from their tests that they've been taking all year in fifth grade. We weigh heavily on teacher recommendations. So what Ms. Tessnier sees in the classroom with the child's ability to think critically and really go above and beyond, because if they move into pre-algebra, they're totally skipping Math 6. And that is, even though your child may do well in math, unless we see evidence that they're able to skip all of that and still keep up with the pace, then we're not going to put them in pre-algebra, because it's going to start to cause problems on down the road for them when they get into the higher maths if they don't get that strong foundation. So, and then if we think that all that data says, oh, they might be a good candidate for pre-algebra, then we're going to give them, and sometimes we give it to everybody, but we're definitely going to give those kids that we think could possibly be a good candidate pre-algebra readiness assessment. I think last year we actually did it with the Math 6 test that our Math 6 students took at the end of the year. But we have a few options for that. And then we'll look at all of that data combined, and we'll send something out to you early in the summer, like typically the first week or two of June, that says this is what we have assigned for your child. And if you have questions, let us know and we can talk about it. But that's just for math in 6th grade. We don't have any other differentiated levels in any other subjects in 6th grade. Yes.
Do they all move on to pre-algebra in 7th grade? Or is there like still a math 7?
There's not a math 7. Most of them will do pre-algebra. Actually, I think they do. If they don't take pre-algebra in 6th grade, they're going to take it in 7th grade. There is an algebra foundations class, but I think that comes in between pre-algebra and algebra. If they're still struggling after pre-algebra, then they can slow down again and take the foundations class before algebra. Our math department has really grown and made some great improvements and created little stopgap places if a child is struggling, so they don't just have to keep pushing through to the next math if they don't really have the basics of what they need. So, and on the flip side of that, if your child takes Math 6 in 6th grade, it doesn't mean that they can't advance later and get to that highest level of math that we offer, because there are other opportunities for them to do that later as well. So, other questions?
Yes, something about Spanish language. So it's an elective in middle school, but then is high school is required, or a language is required, right? Or,
Yes, a foreign language is required, and typically it's Spanish. In 6th grade, it's an elective. Most of our kids begin foreign language in 8th grade. They'll take that they'll get high school credit for Spanish 1 in 8th grade. A lot of them will. Yeah.
Okay, I think that was my question.
Yes. Yes. We're getting ready to start carpool soon. What do you want them to do with that?
Before you leave, if you want your kiddo, if you could just give me your last name. If you have a student that's staying for GWT or anything, then you don't have to, but I can get everybody else.
Like, wow, then.
So if you want your child, so you don't have to wait for them out